One thing that is so big for me is energy. And everybody believes in it. So I think that's why people so easily connect to that, because everyone believes in energy. Animals are living beings with souls and feelings. In those moments when they're being killed, they're begging for their lives. They're screaming. They are in terror, in panic. All that fear gets trapped inside of them, gets trapped in their fat tissue, gets trapped into their muscles, gets trapped into what humans call meat. And then you later ask me, why am I having anxiety? Why am I having headache? Why am I feeling this way? It is because you have a tortured body inside of you that is projecting on you.
What the hell is up, you guys? My name is Jamie Logan, and today I am back with the best, the baddest in the business, Nemanja Golubović. Welcome.
Stop.
You are. Kale, my name is, rated #1 vegan restaurant in Chicago. You have so much going on, from your social media to your new show, Kale Crew. You just launched season 2, and that's what brings you here to New York. So we have so much to catch up on since the last time you came on.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me back. I have to say congratulations on your season 2 of your podcast. I was so blessed and honored to be a guest on the season 1 of your podcast. And for those people who missed that episode, tell them to go and watch it first and then come back to this one, because it's going to be a continuation of the wonderful conversation you and I previously had.
Totally. You gave us a whole background of how you started your business, how you came from another country, and some of the struggles that you face. So if somebody is interested in hearing about that, it's such an interesting story. And now you're just like, you're a superstar. I'm so honored to be here with you. So also, guys, these are not headphones. These are earmuffs that Nemanja just got me, and I'm obsessed. But I was so cold. I think the heat is off in my apartment. So at night, I have to wrap myself up. I have earmuffs on and gloves, and I'm just... I don't know if I'll make it through the night.
Stop. You're so cute with those. So I'm happy that they're keeping you warm. New York, it's a little bit colder than I expected, honestly, because I come from Chicago. So people are always like, oh, windy city, it's so cold over there. Honestly, there was some really heavy wind last night in New York. So I did not expect that. But anyway, I don't mind the weather. I was like, we're here for the good cause, right? And I want to tell you all about it.
The good cause.
Yes.
So you are here for the good cause. And speaking of the wind, by the way, it knocked your voice right out of you.
It looks like.
Because this is like an imposter. I almost don't recognize you right now. When you texted me this morning at 7:30, you're like, I have no voice. What happened to you?
I have no idea. So let's first tell people that we had the amazing launch party in celebration of the Kale Crew season 2 last night, and we'll talk more about the show. But I wasn't very loud. I'm a very loud person normally, and I don't think I was very loud at the party. I don't remember myself singing or doing anything. And
you definitely were.
Yeah, but I was engaging. Let's say that I was engaging with people, and I may or may not have 2-3 mocktails. I don't drink, so I had some a ginger lychee situation. I didn't even know if it was that right, the name of it. But anyway, it had ice on it. But my throat is normally always so strong. I never expect this, so I'm never again gonna take my voice for granted. Because this morning I woke up and I tried to say something to Nico, and there was literally not a whisper, but it was, and I freaked out, Jamie. I literally was like, what's going on? I was like, am I a Little Mermaid? And Ursula came and literally took my voice, because I was like, what's going on? I got so scared. I texted you immediately and I was like, I have no idea what's going on, but I have no voice. It's like I got so scared. I was like, let me see. I immediately started Googling, like, recover your voice quickly. And then the Google says, like, oh, don't speak for basically 2 weeks and it'll come back. And I'm like,
no.
I was like, I have a podcast shoot this morning.
Two
and
podcasts.
Then tonight, I'm guest on a different podcast that's going to be in my own language, like my native language. I'm very excited to get a veganism into that type of audience, because you know how we from Balkans be, and I'll tell you also more about that. But I was like, Lord, help me get my voice back today, because I need to be on these podcasts. They're important to me.
The Lord answered your prayers because you're back.
Listen, like maybe 15, 20 minutes later, I started. But as I started speaking, in a moment, it would just go, and I was like, let's hope that doesn't happen now. You know, I drank some tea.
Oh, man.
I had me some avocado toast, you know, little fig candy bar. And, you know, we have water over here, so I should be good.
Okay, I am so glad that you rallied. It was a very fun party last night. Why don't you tell us about Kale Crew, what the show is, where people can watch it, and what that experience has been like?
Yes. Kale Crew show exclusively available on Unchained TV. It is a vegan series or a food show where people just can go to places with me without actually going, but then they can make a decision to check the spot and just get familiar with different vegan restaurants, different vegan dishes and cuisines. The goal of the show is to showcase how diverse and fun veganism really is. Often people think it's boring. Often people think it's not going to be tasty or delicious, not going to look good. It's going to be only grass. Well, shows prove them that it's everything but just the grass. So that was kind of whole idea behind it. I actually met Jane, a president of Unchained TV, at your launch of your PETA's podcast, just so you know, in Los Angeles, in a PETA's Empathy Center. She has seen some of my videos previously, and once we met that night, she told me, oh my God, I've seen some of your interviews. There's so much personality in them. Like, I really think you should have a TV show. And I was like, okay, you know. And that night, I gave a speech where I said, if she told me that a couple of years ago, I wouldn't believe it. But in the last couple of years, I started being very comfortable doing all of those things, being in front of the camera, and just believing that I can do things like that. So it was in a perfect moment that she said to me, you need to have a TV show, because I thought that's so too. So I was like, okay, like what we need to do, we kind of sort of just, you know, brainstormed a couple of ideas, and then like a week or two later, I delivered the first episode. And in the first season, and it's 11 episodes, that people please go to Unchained TV. It's free. It's amazing network. Think of it as a vegan Netflix, okay? It's so good because it can be downloaded on your TVs, and it's literally up same as the Netflix is, but better, because 2,000 different videos and shows all about the veganism and about animal agriculture, documentaries, recipes, food, so much information, even some fictional shows. So it's so incredible platform, and honestly, I think every vegan in the country and in the world needs to have downloaded Unchained TV app.
And non-vegans.
Exactly, so that they can learn. But, you know, we need to start as a vegans to be talking more about this. And then 11 episodes from Chicago are already available, because the original idea was to showcase Chicago vegan scene. But how we were looking at our metrics and you know, demographics and everything, it turned out the show was so watched in other cities, because we kind of wanted this to make a Chicago show. But we went live with Jane to do a little interview, and we got so many callers, people calling and complimenting the show and telling about, and they were all from LA, from Dallas, from Tampa, from Baltimore. So show is being watched way further than Chicago. So I was like, why are we limiting ourselves to only one city when we can just, expand this more. And
Fly
now,
me around the country or the world. I won't complain.
exactly. So we started, idea was to start with around the country, and our first stop was New York, and we already recorded on episode 1, and now I can say that in a second season, I'm planning to collaborate with the different vegan personalities across the country. So Miami has some recognizable faces when it comes to vegan scene. Atlanta has their own, but New York has you, Jamie.
What made you choose me? That's like, there's so many great people.
There is so many great people, but what I love so much about you is your passion for veganism, your lovely personality. You are so much fun, and you are delighted to work with because you're responsible, and I can count on you. And people can be all of that I said, but if it's a missing lack of work ethic, then I am more leaning towards people who are having really good work ethic that I can count on. Shootings are not easy, which like you witnessed yesterday. So some people are just not used to it, but I know you can put a hard work in, and then I cannot wait for people to see the end result, because I just think it's going to be so incredible. We shot an episode 1 of the season 2 yesterday at Spicy Moon, which is like, we have in common love for that restaurant too. You and I went on one of our first dates at the Spicy Moon. We had so much fun over there. So to me, it just made sense for me to do a Spicy Moon episode for you. And thank you for saying yes to that invite.
Oh, I'm honored. Thank you for having me.
And episode was just so much fun. But now that's the goal. To go to different cities and have some of those recognizable faces for that particular city and collaborate and have them show me around so that I can show it to everyone watching. But my goal is to expand it even internationally, because veganism is everywhere. It's not just American thing. And I really would love, because in one point in my life, I lived in Mexico. And I really would love to go to Mexico City. And I wasn't vegan when I lived in Mexico, because that was in 2011 and 2012. And I wasn't vegan. And I'm just so regretful of that, because it has so many amazing vegan spots. And I honestly think Mexican food in general, it's so heavy on vegetable, which is so beautiful. And it's so easy to enjoy Mexican food vegan. So my really big desire is, I went multiple times back as a tourist to enjoy now that I'm vegan, but I want to go on a work mission and go to Mexico City and showcase the delicious vegan
You're
scene.
going to go everywhere. I think there's so many spots to hit. The biggest question is, how do you manage to change up the show for every place that you're hitting? Because there's like lots of food, you're eating it, so much of the food is good. What are maybe some of the challenges that you face filming?
Well, that's the biggest thing. The problem is, I say, I wish I could feature everyone. I wish I could go to every restaurant in New York City, but somebody said I'm going to need 3 seasons to cover every single amazing restaurant in New York, which like it really is. So, and I definitely am planning to come back. So I'm not limiting one restaurant per city. I was literally having a conversation yesterday about going to Puerto Rico possibly and featuring multiple places in a one episode. And I would go with a Black African vegan, because she was at a party last night and we talked about it, and she's from Puerto Rico. So it just makes sense to do something like that. So I think that's kind of biggest challenge, is like, oh my God, I want to include everyone, and I want to include every restaurant, and I want to showcase all the foods. It's simply impossible, but I will keep working towards it.
Totally.
This is something that could be running for years, so I'm gonna get to a lot of places.
And being a restaurant owner yourself, you have a deeper understanding of what these restaurants have to go through in order to be successful. We've seen in the past couple of months, unfortunately, vegan places either closing, non-vegan places as well, but you're also seeing some vegan places adding meat on the menu.
Yes. It's definitely an interesting topic that we have to touch. The other day, another vegan restaurant in Chicago announced the closure, and somebody posted in a vegan group to let us know about it and said, this restaurant just joined a graveyard of vegan restaurants in Chicago. They're definitely hurting, and I'll tell you my opinion why. Number one, I think that, which is great, vegan food has become so accessible that we no longer need to travel in the name of veganism. You know how vegans would be sit on a train, on a plane, sit in a car on a road trip and travel for hours to go to the favorite vegan spot. We live in a world where all these fast food chains, such as Taco Bell, a Burger King, even McDonald's now is introducing vegan chicken patties. People no longer need to go extra mile to get a vegan food. It's accessible everywhere, and that is particularly hurting vegan businesses who are counting on vegan customers to come in, which how I'm managing to maintain Kill My Name in the business is I'm not particularly having only vegan audience. A lot of and majority of my customers are non-vegan, which also makes me happy because those are non-vegans who are very open-minded towards vegan food. Those are all the future vegans. And when I sometimes enter and see a full restaurant and I talk to people and there's like not one single vegan in the restaurant, I'm like, this is so incredible because all of these people, because of me, chose to eat meat-free food today. So I think that's one of the things is vegan restaurants don't have to aim particularly for the vegan audience and don't have to count on a vegan community. I came to realization that there is no vegan community. It's not something we all come together and we all come to support certain things. It's very divided, and that's another conversation that we can have. But I also think it needs to be more united. If we could have an actual vegan community, we don't. And I'll also tell you why I say that. I've created my own community, Nieman community or Kill My Name community, people who chose to support me no matter what, not to support me in the name of veganism, but to support me in the name of the love for me and a Kill My Name and my food. And that's what keeps restaurant in business. So basically, if I can give an advice, I'm not I don't like giving advices to people, but I would really try to focus and create your own community rather than counting on people to come and eat at your place just in the name of veganism.
Interesting.
Because as great as Kill My Name is doing, and I'm very grateful, I had failures too. And I love talking about my failures because, everybody's always, I get these messages, congratulations on your success. And I'm like, hold on, it's not all success. There is moments where I just go down. And on the last podcast that you and I did, I was bragging about the entirely vegan food hall, and I was so happy. And Kill My Name was doing so well in there, but it shut down.
Plant X in Chicago.
Plant X in Chicago got shut down, and the reason for that is because there was no vegan community to just particularly support that. Also, the bigger in the game, such as Walmart and Target and things, they now have all of those vegan products, but being such a big corporations, they are able to offer those products cheaper than the small guys can, right? And the Plan X market was kind of just small business and with incredibly expensive rent because it was so large. So it was just it was not able to survive. And but last weekend, everything was 50% off. Let me tell you, everything flew off the shelves. Everyone came and bought things. So I say, see, this is proof that it was never a problem of awareness. People knew about it. There was just not simply enough of vegans to support fully vegan food hall. 6 vegan restaurants, the vegan grocery store. It was just not enough.
I think there's like 2% of the vegans in the world. So
I know.
the goal would definitely be to get non-vegans inside of these restaurants. And what you're doing is you're showing people that there's not a sacrifice and that they can have their big breakfast scramble with pancakes and bacon. And the best part is that it doesn't hurt anybody and it's delicious and healthier for you. And you're showing people that. So you've created this brand where people see you, they love you, and they want to support the restaurant, but they're not just supporting the restaurant just because they love you. You truly do provide quality product.
Well, but so many people provide a quality product and they still don't make it. So this is what I'm saying. Take some steps to focus on creating your own community rather than counting like, oh, I'm going to put up a vegan restaurant and vegans should come. Like, it's no longer enough. Before it was enough because vegans had no options.
What are some of those steps that you took?
Well, what I do is I show human side of me, right? I also think, these businesses and be like, we at this place. I was like, who we? It's you, baby. Like, you are a one woman or one man show. Why do we try so badly to act like we're a big business? And I think that's where the connection gets lost because everybody tries to act like a big guy, and copy how social media is run by this big corporation. They're so faceless. There's no connection. Let's say if your local Walmart gets shut down tomorrow, like, will you cry? Like, we'll probably not care. You don't want that. You want a connection. You want to show the humanity behind it. So what I've done and what served me so well, I've showed myself and I show my human side and I show the struggles that I'm going through and I spoke about my failures, right? So I was devastated. I cried when a Plan X market closed. Like, I was devastated. I was so sad about it. Like, I could easily start crying right now because I'm grieving the loss of a wonderful, beautiful business.
I went there with you. It was amazing.
I know.
It was a big space. And finally, I was like, wow, a place that is like a vegan supermarket. You can just buy anything off the shelves. There were tons of different cuisines inside that little food hall. And you don't have to check ingredients. And yeah, I think you use social media to your advantage a lot to reach people. I'm so curious tips on that and growing your social media because you have over 100,000 followers. How many now? 200,000?
270 something thousand.
Give us all the tips with
we
that.
are over a quarter of a million. Well, as I said, like, people should not be scared to show a personality. I don't think Jamie, it's 2025, beautiful plate of food. It's great. I share sometimes that too, but it's not going to go viral. And in 2025, we live in an era of these videos popping up everywhere. We absolutely need to create that for our businesses. And I saw this meme and I was laughing like, oh, business owners realizing now they have to be a social media managers. It's true. It's true. We cannot be running a business in this time and age without the social media. It's my most powerful tool. And I'm absolutely using it not just to promote the business, but the veganism and everything else that I do around it. And it opened so many doors for me. It opened, like, I wouldn't be having a show, or like, I also run my own podcast, and wonderful opportunities that happen to me, and I get to be guest on other shows and on other podcasts and things. It's all, we connected via social media, you and I. So it is so important to use. But I understand also when people are so stuck in their business, they say, oh, Nieman, I don't have time, or I don't feel uncomfortable in front of the camera. We need to, I'm also on this other show that it's called The Blocks. It's about entrepreneurship. And one of the best things that people can learn on that show, I serve as a judge and mentor over there, basically mentoring young entrepreneurs. They don't have to be young, but young in entrepreneurship, like they're starting. The best thing that they can learn over there is that you need to work on your business rather than in your business. Because if you're stuck into all the operations and stuff, then you don't have time to work on the business. One of the best steps that I could take is lose a little bit of money, hire an employee to replace me so that I can work on my business rather than in my business. And I understand it's a little hit, but it's struggle that we just have to go through.
It pays off in the long run.
Exactly. And I always say this, and I don't want anybody to think like, oh, easy for you to say. Like, I opened my business with no money. I literally had no money. I went through struggles. I worked for 6 months every single day, open to close. I could not believe the day that came that restaurant was open and I was not inside of it. It was just, I couldn't imagine it. It was insane. So I know those struggles too, but then I knew I needed to take a little bit of a financial hit so that I can start working on a business rather than being stuck inside, packing the orders, writing those beautiful hearts on the bag that we sent for everyone, which is great. We're still doing that, but I have now people in place to do that so I can focus on a bigger picture. And I know this is not something that people can do overnight, but this is definitely something people need to be aiming for if they want business to grow.
I think this is such great advice, and you really do inspire so many people just with your lifestyle, your positivity. So when we talk about inspiring people, I am so curious what you say to a non-vegan. Let's say you get 10 minutes with a non-vegan. What is something that you can say to convert them?
My favorite things to talk about are the ones that I was not aware of. And I now, even if I'm not asked, if I have an opportunity to speak about it, I will. Reason for that is I want people to know things I never knew. And if I knew, I would go vegan sooner. And one thing that is so big for me is energy. And everybody believes in it. So I think that's why people so easily connect to that, because everyone believes in energy. If someone negative now comes and enters this room, everybody will like, don't bring your negative energy and like, don't, it transfers to the room. Somebody's bad attitude can ruin your day and can make you act very weird.
If you let it.
But it can do it. Yeah, I agree. But energy transfers. Right? Like if I start being all nasty and negative and stuff, it's gonna affect you, right? Like you're human. It's going to affect you. So why I'm going with this is animals are living beings with souls and feelings. They have this beautiful desire for life. That's where we are the most connected to animals. We have so much in common, but I think our biggest thing that animals and humans have in common is desire to live. Natural instinct of survival. If this lights and a camera now start falling off me, I'm gonna run. It's instinct. Animal does the same, runs for their life. They want to live. In those moments when they're being killed, they're begging for their lives. They're screaming. They are in terror, in panic. We have all seen those videos. There was never an animal that wanted to die that didn't fight back. It's always a scream and a terror and a fear and a pain, but there is no mercy because the sandwich was more important. It loses a life in most horrible conditions of the terror and panic and everything. All that fear gets trapped inside of them, gets trapped in their fat tissue, gets trapped into their muscles, gets trapped into what humans call meat. And you consume that. You eat that. That dead body and that flesh of meat goes inside of you and goes inside of your stomach. And then you later ask me, why am I having anxiety? Why am I having headache? Why am I feeling this way? It is because you have a tortured body inside of you that it's projecting on you. And you don't want to believe in this, but you will believe that energy transfers to the room, but will not believe that it transfers inside of your body. You consumed it. You consumed pain. You consumed torture. You consumed fear. You consumed a dead body that it's now projecting on you. So that is so big for me, and I didn't know about it. And every time I start speaking about this, I think it resonates with people so much more than when I try to explain something else. And this is some of the conversations that I had with people who legit went vegan after it. Because we want beautiful energy in life. Everybody wants it. And it's not just about what we consume, but then that's what we project.
Yeah. Selflessness is the most selfish thing that you can do. And the reason being is exactly what you're explaining. Because all of this, the way that you treat others and the energy that is then maybe being consumed by you, that's going to come back to you in the end ultimately. So if you want to go around and eat animals and destroy the environment and do all these terrible things, it's only going to affect you in the end. And so by being vegan, it's selfless, but it's also selfish because it's so much better for you as well, in terms of energy, in terms of your health, in terms of the way that you relate to the world around you. It was the best thing that I ever did. And I love that you're talking about energy, because I think that was one of the biggest shifts that I noticed when I stopped eating meat, was that it was not only did I physically feel better, but mentally I felt a lot better as well.
Absolutely. For me, not just physically and mentally, but emotionally. And let me tell you this, financially. And people are like, how? It's, first of all, meat is expensive, okay? But second thing is, I felt like things went through for me. What I touched, it gave a little flavor, because of I always think that was way of me getting the payback, and it's just everything went working so much better for me from the day I went vegan. I struggled so long to get my documents, and I immigrated to the United States of America. I didn't have a social number. I didn't have a green card. Now I'm an American citizen. But we waited so long. I had an interview. I was not hearing back and stuff. And I remember making the decision to go vegan. And I don't know, like, I believe it's related. Like, some people can think I'm being silly and stuff. But a couple months later, I got response and I was approved. And I just thought that kind of universe decided to give me a little bit more luck, because I've decided to do a little less damage. And I speak about it, that I really think if people tell me all of this, oh, congratulations on your success and things like that, I say, if I do have any success, it's thanks to veganism.
Wow.
And I absolutely feel that way. But not just about that, but also when it comes to energy, that I love to talk about, is it benefits people. And I know so many vegans will get mad at me now. I was like, we need to talk about animals. It's not about you. Like, it's killing animals. It's wrong. And people often don't want to connect to that. And if you tell someone how veganism benefits animals, because it does, they don't want to hear. Because, we live in a very speed world. Everything is going on, and people just need to focus on themselves. But if you tell them that veganism benefits them, then they're more open to listening. And it is absolutely true. I've decided to go vegan for the animals. That was my main reason. And all these benefits that I got later on were a bonus, and I discovered, and I think I'm using now those to connect more people to veganism, because not everybody is like me. Not everybody is going to do it for the animals. If you don't want to do it for the animals, do it for yourself. And that's how I managed to convince my family, Jamie, to go vegan.
Tell me what that was like, coming from a Balkan family. I'm guessing it was kind of meat heavy, because it's right by Serbia.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's very meat heavy. I grew up eating meat, literally almost like every meal, and my family did the same. And my father has been diabetic for majority of his life, but he kept eating all the things that he shouldn't, and just I think like 12 doses of insulin like in a day or something. It was just like really bad. But I was freaking out because I don't like needles. So he was doing this to himself. I was all freaking out. I was like, I hope I never ever come in the situation that I need to do this. He got really sick. Like he got to be close to 70 and he started being very sick to the point where he couldn't stand up. And we were just basically thinking, oh, he doesn't have much more to live and that he's going to die. And he started thinking that because people don't want to think that something is bad happening to them till it actually happens. You know, we know sugar is not good for us. We'll consume it till actually we have a disease that doctors like, you have to cut it or you'll die. So my father kept living that poor lifestyle of a very poor food choices till he was in bed. And every year I take my entire family on a vacation. Oh. And I'm so blessed and grateful that I'm able to do that. But one year, and we all go together. For me, that's not a vacation, let me tell you. I get so tired of organizing everything, but I want to do this for my family, like entire family. So we go to places and my father joins. And then one year we chose Paris and he couldn't go because he could no longer stand up. And he realized he's just going to be an extra thing for us to worry about because he cannot walk. And like when we go on these trips, we want to do the sightseeing, we're going to go to places, and he couldn't walk. So he decided to go home, stay home. And he watched all of these videos and the pictures and the things that we were posting about, and he was really sad. And then once we come back from that vacation, we're already starting to plan a next year vacation, and we all believed that he might not even be alive, and he believed that too. So he told me, okay, tell me, because I always speak about veganism, he never wants to hear it, and I cried multiple times and tried to explain it. But now that he had no options, visited so many doctors, and it's like, you're just sick and here's more medication, more medication. He asked me like, what do I need to do? And I was like, first thing, you have to go vegan, but not only go vegan, but you have to eat mainly veggies, vegetables and fruits, and like eat clean. And he decided to do that. He went vegan because that was his last option. Like he had no option, or to die or to try this very last thing. Jamie, I don't know if this is even possible. I have like never heard of it. I've never seen it before, and I don't know if this can happen for other people, but just insane. Like within a couple of months, he's already walking, he's doing things. Within 6 months, only 6 months, he wants a treadmill in the house. He wants the bike. He made me buy him an Apple Watch so he can be counting his steps. Like not only did he stand up, but he's physically active. Like he wants to work out, he wants to exercise, he wants to do places. He's getting ready for the next trip. Next year, we chose Barcelona, okay? I don't know how many miles this is, but 13 kilometers. I think that's like maybe even close to 20 miles a day we were walking.
What?
And his Apple Watch was showing that we would walk from the morning till night. He wouldn't stop. Wow. He was so happy. He didn't want to miss anything. But do you know what was the difference between the Paris and Barcelona trip? Paris trip was about sightseeing. Barcelona trip was about visiting vegan restaurants because that's what he wanted.
Oh, wow.
And now that me and my father are doing this, now entire family is going to all of these vegan places, they're blown away. The food is so delicious. My mom cannot believe because she witnessed a very first row. She lives with him in a house. What happened from a dying man to someone who now wants to do all of those things. My older brother went on a road trip with his wife, and then my father would say to my mom, you and I should do it. And then my mom was like, shut up, sit there, like we're not doing anything. And it was like, oh, I'm vegan, I have so much energy now. He is now one of those vegans that like, I'm vegan, okay?
Wow.
It's like you that joke, how you will know my father is vegan, he will tell you, okay? Like he's so proud of it. Like all his friends were making fun of him and everything because like they were like, if someone told us that you will end up not eating meat, because he was so heavy, he hosted barbecues and things like that. He's so passionate about it, like that, you know, he meal preps, he goes on a long drive trips to go to special grocery stores where he can source him like a good ingredients. He's like mushroom obsessed, so he has to find.
Break it down. Like, what is a breakfast, lunch, and dinner for somebody that is a whole foods, plant-based kind of guy?
So for me, I can tell you what I eat.
Yeah.
Like I really love starting my day with a good avocado toast.
Yeah, you made that for me.
It's just so simple and delicious, and I love starting with that. And then I really love to eat my fruits in the morning too. So I will most likely, it's not avocado is a fruit technically, but I think of it as a veggie. But I love a good avocado toast with a lot of fruits after that. And then for lunch, I will experiment, okay? Like that's going to be a lot of different things for me. It could easily be a restaurant meal. I will sometimes even go with a burger, pasta, and things that are very comforty, you know?
Especially being at a restaurant like yours.
Exactly. But sometimes I just want a hearty bowl of like of the veggies, of a quinoa, of the things like that, you know, when I'm like trying to be a little bit healthier.
I'd be eating all fucking day.
That's me too. But listen how I spread it out. Then after that, like shortly after that, the bowl of like good things, I'm going to want a smoothie. So that's kind of my snack. And then I have actual snacks like pistachios and cashews and things. I've been snacking with those all day long. Okay. And then one thing for dinner, I will try to go as light as possible because like I just don't like eating like super late at night, you know. So like I'm gonna always try to have some sort of like an appetizer. But also if I'm even having a salad, like I add good tofu or tempeh or something like that to give me a good protein too. So that salad makes me feel full because not gonna lie to you, regular salad will not make Niemann full, okay?
No, you can eat.
So I need like a good source of the protein. I also have this amazing salad that I call Niemann salad. It's also available at Kale My Name that has a lot of beans in a salad. And I just love it. And
it's great.
If I eat that, then I'm like so full and then I'm good. And one thing lately I'm so into cold pressed juices. So I'm going to also have some cold pressed juice, you know, throughout the day, sometimes multiple a day, but yeah.
So great. It's so great. There's so many different ways of going about eating as a plant-based person. I mean, it's really not hard nowadays. And I think it sometimes takes a little bit more effort when you're trying to do whole foods plant-based and you're going to the store having to chop up the kale and chop things up. And unfortunately, healthy food is not as accessible depending on where you are. Like in New York, you can pretty much go to a Just Salad or Chipotle or, you know, and get veggies and bowls. But yeah.
But it's accessible at a supermarket.
Absolutely.
So that's why everywhere you are, I think that's the best thing. If you're like vegan somewhere where they don't have an option stuff, then you will eat healthy and that's good. But I have to tell you and to finish you about my family.
Yeah.
My family seeing that and seeing what he have done to my father, my mom decided to go vegan with him. But then my older brother and his wife jump on board too.
Wow.
So it's like they joined the veganism. So it's so incredible. And I have to tell you about some other example. One of my best friends, Jenny, she has been with me since the day I moved to the United States to become friends and friends. To this day, I'm even a godfather to her child. But she went vegan through the conversations with me. And it's so great. And I have another friend that I also want to tell you about how I met him at the show, the blogs about entrepreneurship, and he has some completely different business, nothing to do with veganism, but technically it is vegan because he does cabinets and things like that. And what I learned is that those are sometimes non-vegan too because they use something in the glue. You know, the people be using nasty
I'm
things.
sure.
So like even like now we have got to be checking if our cabinets are vegan. But anyway, he was big on environment, okay? And he even went to some protest and like he's environmentalist. He wants change. And he wasn't vegan. So we sit down, call him out on that, explain him point by point why veganism is the best thing that we can do. I think it's the biggest single thing that one human can do to help the environment is by going vegan. Because you know what the meat does, you know how much land we use to feed animals. People often forget that animals need to eat because they always say like, oh, like you're eating plants and stuff. And I'm like, how? 90 billion, right? Animals a year that need to eat. People forget about that. So
it's insane. Did you see Elon Musk's comment on Joe Rogan's podcast about, he goes, it won't make a difference to the environment if you stop eating meat. One statement like that sets us back, I think, years because he has such a big reach on that show. And it's just like, why aren't you looking at the facts and figures? Like, we don't even have to exaggerate anything to get the point across that, like, meat is not sustainable at all in any way that you look at it. A plant-based diet is the most sustainable way of eating. It's insane.
Let's hope people will think with their own brains when they see that statement. Yeah, I've saw it. It's very frustrating. Yeah. But there's so many people out there like that. And also, I think what hurted veganism big time is a couple of years ago, everyone went vegan. Everyone. Like, I couldn't meet a person who's like, oh, I tried vegan or I do this vegan. Everyone did. So in such a huge growth and such short time, a lot of people decided to take a step back.
Oh, interesting. Overshot it a little bit.
Exactly. So what I think its solution to our little problem over there is veganism keeps growing. No one can stop that. But it took step back definitely because everybody jumped on board. Yeah. Like, you understand? It's like me saying now, let's do something. And then I got like hundreds of thousands of people that just join me, like just like that, without proper knowledge, education, proper diet, proper way to do veganism. So a lot of them just, fall off the train.
Right.
And that's what literally happened to veganism. So what I think we need to move forward with is more quality growth, right? Rather than just looking how to turn like everybody vegan, it's just how to create education for these people to stay vegan, to be able to maintain their veganism. Because we all know somebody who is no longer vegan was never a vegan, because like once you understand it fully, like that cannot change. That's why when people tell me, oh, I was vegan, I was like, no, you were not, because you can't unlearn. We cannot unlearn things.
Compassion for animals. That's all it is about. It's like you either recognize the abuse or you don't. And I just don't, once you know the torture that goes on in these industries, from the confinement to the mutilation to the killings on a scale that's unfathomable. If we killed human beings at the same rate that we kill animals, we would be extinct in 17 days. So if once you understand those basic premises surrounding veganism and the ethical stance in which it is, you don't go back. You don't turn your back on that.
So yeah, we need more quality growth, and that's that friend that I was telling you about, the environmentalist, went vegan. Like just literally a couple days later, he texted me. I was like, "You were so right." And I recently checked on him, and this was years ago. I wanted to check on him to see how much he stick to it, and he's pretty awesome. So
it's really awesome. How do you explain somebody that might go to a protest and many protests and say that they're in it for the animals, and then turn their back? Like, I want to say the majority of people, like, that would never happen. Like, I would never not be vegan, But there was there's a few people actually, like this one lady, this girl, Devin, that used to come to our protests, started dating a meat eater, turned Christian, and found the Lord, and now posts her eating animals.
Wait, I'm confused that how the Lord enforced the killing. How the Lord was like, let's slaughter.
You would think it's the complete opposite.
Absolutely. No, I wouldn't think. I know, Lord. Totally. I know, Lord. I carry him right over here in my heart.
Totally.
And it's absolutely, Lord, it's love. It is. It's absolute unconditional love.
That's right.
And there is no love that puts a knife in your throat. So it's confusion, but we also have to think of now you mentioned that about if we killed humans at the rate that we killed animals, that would be gone in 17 days. Imagine the world where we created that 90 billion lives are being taken every year in that horror and the pain and the conditions that they live in before they even die. Imagine just amount of suffering out there, and then later on we want to wonder why awful things are happening to the humanity too, because humanity suffers, and I care. We care about humans too. And honestly, the bad things are happening to us because we are awful. That's the only explanation. And that's why, and diseases and the wars and just disasters that are happening to the humanity, it's because we are awful. I said the other day the quote that I've seen that said, if animals formed an organized religion, human would be in a form of devil, or devil would be in a form of human. And when I've heard that, I was like, this is so powerful. And I immediately wondered, how is this not enough for anyone out there with a good heart, with a good intentions, to say, I don't want to be nobody's devil. I want to be nobody's devil. How is that not enough?
Yeah, and I think going vegan is when you see that other being trembling, when you see the fear in their eyes and you recognize that that's happening because of you and you change, is really all it is. It's all veganism is, and people will make it out to be extreme or radical when it's just truly being kind. And as you said, not wanting to be someone else's devil.
No, absolutely not. I'll never, Jamie, be anybody's devil. Not to human, not to animal, and that's how I live my life. That's so important to me. And I know many people would agree with me that they don't want to be devil to anyone. But then they got home and that there's a dead body on them. They have to realize that they are devil to that being, that they don't want to die. People don't want to think about it. No. I started talking about this the other day, and somebody told me like, oh, but you know, I'm eating for my blood type. And I was like, excuse me, how is this related? Like, you are still a devil to that animal, and we have to admit that. The
blood type thing is so dumb too.
I honestly have no idea what's going on over there. Listen, I'm not a scientist, so like I'm not gonna be denying it because I don't know. But it's so popular right now, and they be throwing it just out there. It's such a great excuse.
Yeah,
like it just gives zero. Questioning and stuff and everything. Oh, it's from my blood type. They don't even know what their blood type is. They just heard that and they're like, okay, let me do this. But so that's what I heard. But
it's unconscious thought. I'm telling you. Like before I was vegan, I would sit down, have my meal. It looked like just food that I always had, and I actually did not think about the animal. And I think most people are in this situation. Like this is an industry that's a perfect example of good people doing really bad things, participating in really, really horrible things. Like, I don't think you or me that we were bad people before. I think it's, as you said, back to the education. And once you know better, you do better. And when you do know better, then there's really no excuse.
That's what I love, providing the information. That's what I say to people sometimes when I got in a conversation and say, I was like, I'm just going to tell you things I didn't know. Nobody told me. And you do with that information whatever you want. So I use that excuse for me to talk about it very often because I think that's how people learn. I was also not relating much to what is on my plate, like just eating. But once you know for me, it's impossible to unlearn it. I simply cannot. But again, it's so beautiful that veganism is not just benefiting the animals, it's benefiting so many other things. And I have to tell you about, I spoke previously about this, and I want to tell you about some comments I got. I said, how can you be spiritual and still consume dead bodies? How can you be spiritual without veganism? Because to me, spirituality without veganism doesn't make much sense. Because spirituality, it's caring for more than just yourself and caring beyond and
being connected to others, to the divine.
Beautifully connected, not through the knife. I spoke about this, and there was a short clip, and it went viral due to complaints in the comments. You know how that will make videos go viral when people complain about it. But one of the most liked comments said, because I spoke about it, I was like, people, because so many people are spiritual, and that's good, because I think hopefully they can make connection. So I said, so many people are spiritual, but they're still consuming dead bodies. And the video went viral, and the most liked comment said, live and let live, right? She was saying that to me, that I am not letting live by forcing my veganism on others. How disconnected from reality you need to be to write on someone who asks for mercy for animals. You say live and let live. There is your let live part. Where is the let live part? Seriously? And that was the most liked comment. Like, people agree with her that, like, I am the, they were like, how can you be spiritual and be judging? First of all, I'm not even spiritual. I said that for all of you who are claiming to be spiritual, but they're still consuming dead bodies.
They are the ones not letting live.
So, but she was like, judging and stuff, live and let live. Oh. And I was like, do you understand that that's exactly what I'm talking about? That is exactly what I want.
You should take your own advice. What did you say back to her?
Literally. Well, I said how disconnected from reality you need to be to write this on a vegan post that it's basically begging you to let animals live.
Yeah.
What about when you say let live? Why does that exclude animals?
Right.
I'm asking you a question, Jamie. When you say live and let live, why the live part exclude animals?
They'll just try to say anything to take the onus off of them instead of taking the responsibility. And, at some point, I had to look inward and say, look, I was wrong. I admit it. I'm going to change. I'm going to try to be better. And that's what you and I did. And hopefully other people, if we can make the connection, other people can, there's nothing about me that makes me special or any different to go vegan.
But that's also a thing where we say vegans. I was like, so you think you're better than everybody else?
God.
Let me tell you that. Do vegans think that they're better than everybody else? The simple response is no.
Well, I do.
No.
Because I'm not hurting animals.
No, you don't. And I'll tell you now why.
Tell me.
Vegans don't think that they're better than anybody else. It's quite the opposite. We vegans believe that we are not entitled to take a life for our sandwich. That's believing that you are better than somebody else because, I can take your life away because my sandwich will taste better.
Right.
So vegans actually believe that we are not better than that. Mm-hmm. We are not better than anybody else out there, so we are entitled to take your life.
The only entitled person is the one that's putting creamer in their coffee just because they like it and taking the entire existence away from a cow and her baby because they simply like the taste and that's how they've always had their coffee. That's entitlement. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So that's what I say. No, when they said you're vegan, you think you're better than everybody else. I said, no, I absolutely don't. If I thought I was better, I would probably have a chicken in my sandwich, but I don't because I don't think I'm better and entitled.
No, you see the value in all life.
Exactly.
Right.
So I don't think I'm better than anybody else. And that's it.
I think you're pretty great, though.
Oh, thank you so much. But you did mention dairy. It terrifies me, Jamie. I'm like, that joke, like say something scary, like a dairy industry. It's so scary to me. It's one of the scariest things out there. I often think it's more damaging than anything else we do to animals. I literally think dairy industry is more harmful than the meat industry. Meat industry is awful, but dairy industry, it's worse than even that. It's absolute hell that has been created. First of all, cows are the sweetest. We do this torture to the sweetest animal out there. We are not breeding tigers to get their milk because they're going to bite us back. We found these sweet, innocent creatures that want to cuddle with us, that just love us and everyone, that always want to make a piece of us. And we enslave them, we rape them, we impregnate them, we take their babies when they deliver, and just so we can put a creamer in the milk. Is all of that worth the... Get a damn oat milk. Get a damn almond. Now hemp milk, your new favorite, isn't it?
Yep, we got the hemp milk, we got the flax milk, rice milk. There's really no excuse.
So all of that, and you know what's the worst part in there? When that it's over, when the cow went through all of that hell and the baby gotten taken away, that she loved. Cows are wonderful mothers. They love their babies. So baby got taken away. The milk is being stolen for to put placed in a coffee and in the cereal. Do you know what's the worst part? Next year, all over again. And then the next year, all over again. Till she can no longer do it, and she get killed.
They kill her.
For some very cheap meat.
It's all about profit for these industries. And anytime profit is involved, we have to question what is the ethics behind this. And I just think we need to shift our mindset from looking at animals as resources and what they can do for us, and realize that they are here with us, not for us.
And there it's also, I think, the most damaging to the human health too, because it's literally, it blows my mind that people will protect their car more than they'll protect themselves. No one will pour in their car a wrong gasoline. They want to make sure it's correct one. Like if it's a diesel, it has to be a diesel. Like I'm looking, if it's 89, 93, I know my car, like what needs.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't put a wrong gasoline in your car, but you will do a wrong in milk in your body because it doesn't come from humans. The human milk that your mom naturally creates, it has good nutritions for you to grow. Cow's milk has those right things for the calf, for a baby cow to grow into the giant cow. Imagine giving that to a child, giving to a children a substance that calf grows into cow with.
It's insane.
That's like steroids.
Yeah.
It's insane what we are giving to our kids.
Yeah.
And you and I were at a Christmas market yesterday, and we wanted hot chocolate and had a dairy in it. And what blew my mind, marketing was all little cute kids, cute boys and cute girls. And I was like, how you're giving this to kids? How you're feeding kids dairy, the most damaging. I'm so glad this lactose intolerant thing, it's blowing up out of dimensions, because we all are lactose intolerant. Some are just breaking ice immediately. Some silently, it's killing us, but it's killing us.
We're not baby cows. And the freaking product had whey in it, and it's so not necessary. And we spoke to the guy, and hopefully next year that he'll change.
But he made up some promises. Let me tell you that.
He did.
So that was a good thing that we did. But also, you know how much earlier we spoke about that energy too. Cow, it's grieving the loss of the loving child, those hormones. And that's same like woman. It's all hormonal around the pregnancy. After the delivery of the baby, hormones are like going crazy. Now imagine on top of all of that, what your body naturally goes to, now your child is taken away. So like you're even more stressed out, more hormonal and more things, and that's all go into your milk. And then we feed that to our kids, and then later on we wonder why we're all sick. Come on.
Come on. It's we have this egocentric mindset that
let's milk some almonds.
Other animals, right? That other animals don't have the, I guess we don't think that other animals have the ability to suffer like us. And this idea that we tell ourselves is what allows us to perpetuate this horrible mistreatment. We say they're less intelligent than us. We say that we say all these different things. And that's what allows us to do all this damage. But regardless, you are being part of creating the change. And just like activists hundreds of years ago that fought for women's rights, civil rights, LGBTQ issues, even though these opinions weren't popular at those times, there were people that were on the forefronts leading the change, and you are leading the change for animal rights. So I'm so grateful to know you, to be in this fight together. It's a war, but thanks to you, the world is undoubtedly changing. So thank you.
Thank you for saying that, because I often think about the fact that I live in a times where I can be free who I am, because that was not always the case for me. I'm gay. Many people get killed for it. Many people get imprisoned for it. Many people lost their families because of it. So thanks to the brave souls who went out there on the streets and were fighting for me, it's that, today I'm sitting in New York, one of the biggest cities in the entire world, and being on a podcast and having conversations and walking street freely. It's because somebody was fighting for me. So I think it's so important to understand that animals are counting on someone to speak up, because gays counted on someone to speak up. And I often think, what if I was born, I don't know, 300-400 years ago, how miserable my life would be. Like equally as miserable as those encaged animals that they're experiencing life, that they're experiencing right now. Yeah. So I'm so grateful for the brave souls out there that were fighting for my freedom. I'm not taking it for granted. That's why I know I'm going to always be fighting for freedom for everyone, everyone out there. And I'm so big on human rights too. I fight for the freedom and of all humans, but I'm extending that compassion to animals as well.
Well, look at MLK's quote: "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." Think about that, and that's very true. And so I love you, and thank you for coming on. And where can people connect with you?
Well, we already mentioned people should be watching my show, Kale Crew, exclusively available on Chain TV. People should be watching my podcast, where I also had a Jamie as my guest, and we did this incredible thing where Jamie was challenged to speak about some arguments against veganism. So check that episode on Extraordinary with Nieman, my podcast, available everywhere where the podcasts are, but you can find it if you want a video version on my YouTube channel, which is simply called Kale My Name. Connect with me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, particularly on Instagram, because I do there the most. My username is Kale My Name, so find me there.
Kale my name, Kale my name.
When no one is a Raquel, baby, I love you. That is right. I named the business after the Destiny Child song, and connect there with me. And thank you so much, Jamie Logan, for having me for the second time on your second season. Congratulations, podcast is just so amazing. I'm a huge fan. So it's great to be here. And now I have to return the favor, come for the second time on my podcast. Jamie and I will be having conversations till the rest of our lives.
We can talk.
and some of you will be there watching all of those. So I'm very
when
grateful.
I come back from my voyage to India, we'll have a lot to share and talk about.
Oh, I would love to have you right after that.
Yeah. So guys, thank you so much for watching. You know where to find me. I'm at It's Jamie's Corner. Follow Neiman. You can go to Kale My Name or look up Nemanja Golubović and follow him there. If you're in Chicago, definitely check out Kale My Name, and I highly recommend the chicken Caesar wrap that you brought me. When I stayed with you, you like adopted me, and I just was fed so well that whole week, and it was very luxurious.
You're welcome.
So guys, I'll see you around. Thanks for watching. Rate, like, comment below. I want to hear your thoughts. Make sure you subscribe, and until next time, I'll see you around. Bye.